Today I'm going to talk about another significant factor that a court will take into account when deciding liability in road traffic collisions. That being your vehicle's speed and your stopping distance. Anyone who's ever learnt to drive will remember the pain of learning your stopping distances, which includes your thinking distance, your braking distance, your overall stopping distance, and how this might be affected in wet conditions or icy conditions. And for the purposes of this video, I'm going to talk about a stretch of road with a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit and the overall stopping distance that's required and how you should be driving safely. And to do this, of course, I'm going to reference the highway code, which you will remember from previous videos, not all of which creates offences for each element that it talks about. Some of them do create offences, but others are just guidelines, best advice, and how you should drive your vehicle, and things you should and should not do. The important thing to remember, however, is that if a case comes to court, the court will have regard to the highway code and whether or not you have breached any of these rules when deciding liability, whether you are to blame for the collision and whether you should be liable for paying damages to other parties. This is particularly prevalent when talking about speed limits, the speed at which you were driving irrespective of the speed limit, and the gap that you left between you and the vehicle in front. But first of all, if you're new to me, I'm a barrister who helps you understand law, so please hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, then you won't miss out on any future videos. I have a growing library of over 200 videos for you to watch, and you can ask your questions and I will get to them either on this channel or over in Black Belt Secrets, linked in the description below. So talking about 70 miles an hour as a speed limit, the thinking distance for this, as set out in Rule 126 of the Highway Code, suggests that it is 21 meters. In addition to that, the braking distance is suggested to be 75 meters, with an overall stopping distance of 96 meters in good normal conditions. And for those that still deal in old money, that's roughly 315 feet, which you can think of as being very roughly like the distance between two of those 100-yard markers on the motorway or dual carriageway. Yes, I agree. I also don't know why we use so many different units of measurement in this country, but alas, that's the case. And just to put that into perspective, the average car is around about 15 feet long, which compared with the overall stopping distance at 70 miles an hour of 315 feet, that would be 21 car lengths in order to stop safely in normal conditions. So back to the Highway Code and Rule 126. This reads as follows. Drive at a speed that will allow you to stop well within the distance you can see to be clear. You should leave enough space between you and the vehicle in front so that you can pull up safely if it suddenly slows down or stops. In other words, something happens and the vehicle in front of you has to slam their brakes on. Will you be able to stop in time? Let's read on. The safe rule is never to get closer than the overall stopping distance, which remember at 70 miles an hour is quite a long way. Secondly, allow at least a 2-second gap between you and the vehicle in front on roads carrying faster moving traffic and in tunnels where visibility is reduced. The gap should be at least doubled on wet roads and increased further still on icy roads. And remember, large vehicles and motorcycles need a greater distance to stop. If driving a large vehicle in a tunnel, you should allow a 4-second gap between you and the vehicle in front. So this is obviously very well known as the 2-second rule, and as the saying goes, only a fool will break the 2-second rule. And this still appears as a press release by the Highways Agency on gov.uk. And it is something that I remember from learning to drive, and I have no doubt that you do too. Rule 126 also encourages you to pick a fixed point of reference to note the distance between you and the vehicle in front. In other words, when it passes that fixed point of reference, you should not pass this point within 2 seconds. Hence the 2-second rule, which I was interested in looking at for the purposes of this video, so you can see exactly what I mean in real time. Let's take a look. So with all that in mind, I took my drone out to observe a portion of the A38, a portion of road with a 70-mile-an-hour speed limit. Now, of course, I didn't fly over the A38, I am a sensible drone pilot. But vehicles regularly get up to the speed limit of 70 miles an hour on this stretch of road with no obstructions. And I was interested to see in a short time just how many vehicles would break this 2-second rule. Starting out with this example here, you don't really need to do the mathematics to realise this vehicle is travelling far too close to the vehicle in front. And just to illustrate the 2-second rule, I'm going to put a mark on the map where the front vehicle passes, and then where the rear vehicle is after 2 seconds. So here come the two vehicles. I've stopped it here. The red line is the vehicle behind and the green line is the vehicle in front. The second red line at the bottom of the screen indicates where the rear vehicle reached after 2 seconds of travel at 70 miles an hour. Bearing in mind it should not have passed the green line, which is the reference point of the front vehicle when we started the 2-second timer. And to look at this another way, in terms of the overall stopping distance of 315 feet for 70 miles an hour, 21 vehicles worth of distance would take this vehicle off the screen. Interestingly, the 2-second rule only took the vehicle 7 car distances. Within just a few short minutes of filming this section of road, whilst some vehicles did maintain a safe distance from each other, I was quite dismayed at how many vehicles were in fact so close, such as these here. It is no exaggeration that every vehicle travelling as closely as the rear vehicle shown here could not possibly stop if the vehicle in front had to perform an emergency stop for any reason whatsoever. Very often I observed multiple vehicles in close proximity to each other, each of the trailing vehicles breaking the 2-second rule, and if the front or any subsequent vehicle had to brake harshly, there is no way that the rear vehicles would be able to stop in time without smashing into the vehicles in front. Taking this clip as the example once again, the white vehicle passes this point here, and the 2 rear vehicles should not have passed that line within 2 seconds of travel at 70 miles an hour. So from this very short clip, you can see that some of these vehicles are travelling dangerously close together. And I did not cherry pick the worst parts of the video to show you. It was literally the first couple of minutes of footage, which as it turned out was a very typical 30 seconds or so of footage for the remainder of the video, which proved to me that even in a random short clip of footage of this stretch of road, there were several groups of vehicles travelling in very close proximity to each other. Had there been any collision or any reason to stop for the vehicle in front, each of the vehicles travelling behind would almost certainly have gone into each other, causing a multi-vehicle collision. So at the risk of this turning into a lecture, it really is not. As a barrister creating this channel to help you understand law, I feel it is necessary to emphasise the risks placed upon each and every vehicle when travelling at such close proximity. You see, as barristers, we are frequently asked to advise on the quantum or the amount of damages in personal injury claims that arise out of road traffic collisions. Most people will hopefully never have to face such a claim, but the reality is there are a significant number of these collisions and a significant number of injuries, most of which could be avoided if vehicles did keep a safe distance from each other. So as a barrister, to all of you guys watching, please be mindful of the distance between you and the vehicle in front. It may well help you to save many lives. So I thank you for watching this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you think the message should be spread further. And remember, stay humble and subscribe.